technical difficulties.
Oh man. Okay. We are starting the Coffee with Crows tonight
You know
with
what I kept
technical
thinking
difficulties. This is how we're going to do it today.
during that entire intro? I just kept feeling like you were one of those people that were being like you were recording, you didn't know you were recording, and then all of a sudden you're just gonna start like wanking it or something. Like
What?
like you didn't know you were being recorded, and they're like, check out this video of Trigger, where he thought the camera was off.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know
But
how
because you're
I
just
didn't
like
know we were going
clicking
to start
things,
that way, but
you're just
okay.
clicking things, and I don't know. This is what I was thinking the entire intro.
Lucid. How you doing? Yeah. How you doing, Lucid? We
What's
are
the top?
going to do something about technical difficulties tonight, apparently.
Oh, is it? I thought we
Yeah.
were talking about
Hmm.
what were we talking about? Consequences or something. I don't remember.
Is that what we're talking about?
It wasn't consequences. What
What
was it?
are we talking about?
What were we talking about the other day?
Hmm. What were we talking about the other day?
Guess it wasn't that good of a topic.
We-
It's not a good
we
topic if you don't remember what you're talking about. I was watching something about like that was like the joke they were saying like you write everything down. It's like you always have ideas at night.
No, we're talking about nostalgia tonight.
Yeah, we were
So
talking about
it's all
nostalgia.
nostalgia. All past things like cool movie quotes like I don't know. Like
I know who
Well,
I am.
you had to look up the
I'm a
definition
dude
of
playing
nostalgia
a
for
dude
us,
disguised as
because
another dude.
it's confusing.
it is so
It's not.
confusing.
It's not really that confusing, I
So you
guess.
were asking me the other night, what exactly is like nostalgia good or bad? That's kind of what we're going by.
I just think nostalgia is a waste of time. I think that if you're like re-reminiscing in things that you've already done, you're not. I mean, every moment that you're doing something, if you're not doing something else, you're not doing it. I mean, we're doing a talk show. We could be like vacuuming our house and having it like super clean or something, or we could be
At
working.
1:16 in the morning?
Who knows? I mean, some people
Screw
are.
that. There's no
There's
way.
there's always somebody who's doing everything. Like they're like not every, or there's like somebody who's doing something. There's always like, I mean, look, we go and play
If my
Ghosts.
downstairs neighbor was vacuuming at this time in the morning, I would go outside and egg the windows.
I'm saying like if we go on Ghosts, Call of Duty Ghosts right now, there's still like 600 some people that are playing it every night. Like they're on every night.
Well, yeah, we could
Like
definitely
what are
do
they?
that.
So there's always somebody doing something. Like it could
Yeah,
be you. It could be you doing that
it could
something.
be you. It could be you.
But if you're
But
like
it's
always
not. It's
obsessed with
not you. You're
nostalgia,
sitting here and you're
I mean,
watching
we're
us.
we're talking about nostalgia. Well, the reason I even said this originally was because I felt like everything's kind of leaning towards this nostalgia right now. And you were saying, well, younger kids don't experience nostalgia as much, but I
Well,
just feel
it's
like
not. It's not a bad thing that they don't. It's just that when you're younger, you don't have a reason to want it as much. Like if you're
well,
younger, like you're in your teenage years, you're in your 20s, you're always looking for the new thing because what's in the past doesn't matter anymore. Moving up, moving on down the line, and that's what happens for everybody. It doesn't matter generation or whatever. It's always that way. I mean, at least that's how I see it. I don't know. Tell me I'm wrong on this one.
it's just you and me, so there's not much of a debate. I don't like to tell you you're wrong on anything. You're entitled to your opinion.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I really kind of think that's kind of a thing. Like, if you're a teenager, there's not much to be nostalgic about. I mean, unless you like played a game when you were a kid and you've
But
forgotten
that's the
about
thing.
it. But most of the time, you want to move up to the bigger, better thing. Like even
Even
me, when I was younger, like I'd always be moving on to the
I,
next thing.
I think even 13-year-olds get like nostalgic about Fortnite now because they don't play that anymore. They're doing something else.
Really?
But yeah, still
Or do you
something.
think they just want something like more modern, but like the same thing, just a better version,
I don't know. People
graphics up?
bounce around on things all the time now.
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
Well, I mean, look
But
at what I do with my channel. Almost everything I do is a retro game from 10
well,
years or better. I mean,
we
it's
had.
rare I actually do
I
like
don't.
a new game, unless I'm doing like, I don't know, Ace Combat or something like that.
I don't even remember what we said about watching the horror movies every year, like watching Jason. do we consider that continuous nostalgia, or is that just rewatching them every year?
I
Because
guess you could put that in nostalgia bucket there. I would consider that probably a little part of nostalgia there because, if you're watching it every year, you're probably forgetting it. Like, I'll watch Cowboy Bebop every year because I kind of forget the small details. Like, I already know everything overall. Like, I have my theory as far as, like, how it's actually supposed to be. Like,
I don't know.
why.
Very few things actually make me really nostalgic. Like, I don't even own that many DVDs, and half of them are just because there was a time when Blockbuster was selling everything used for cheap that have like a bunch of DVDs. But I mean,
Yeah, I
compared
still
to
have a
some
bunch of
people,
that left, too. It's I don't know when I'll get rid of it. I think I'm just going to hang on to it forever. It's going to be a collectible. It's going to be like what you get with
yeah, that's what you
those
think
toys in
until.
the boxes that you never take out. It's going to
What
be
about all those TVs we thought would be collectibles or something? Those giant TVs that you just got to get them out of the house. They're so
oh, the
big.
big ones.
Yeah,
Oh no, I think those
I
will
mean,
end up in the junkyard.
there's so many things that are just
In
like,
Cowboy Bebop, you remember that episode where
yeah,
the
yeah,
guy
yeah,
is talking about all the old VCRs and how expensive they were, and they
yeah.
were
But
trying to find
that
out
was
what's
like the
on this.
eight track. He
Yeah,
was
it was
it
a
was it
beta
was
video too. It wasn't even VHS. It was beta, and it was
it was like a
Faye's
rare
life,
type.
right? It was Faye's younger life. You know,
Yeah, it was a cool episode.
that was pretty cool. That was
Spike
pretty
just
nice.
kept kicking it.
I think the guy was like,
He's like,
we're going.
ah,
He's basically
technical difficulties.
That's exactly what happened at that point. Oh man. Drink up your milk, man. You're gonna need it. Usually
I have a
have
cold
coffee.
brew. I
You
have a
got a
cold brew in
oh,
there.
you got a cold coffee? Okay.
Vodka. I told you. I showed you the vodka.
Oh, vodka?
Tito's. I
Ah.
thought Tito's was cheap.
Tito's.
Yeah, and then
Tito's
when I got it,
vodka?
the reason I thought it was cheap because I actually don't really like it that much.
I would think that'd be tequila.
No, no Tito's.
Tito's vodka? Handmade vodka. Oh, that's a whole different thing then. Okay.
Austin, Texas.
The guy's rubbing that rice together real hard, making sure it
I
liquefies.
yeah, handmade with machines.
It's handmade with machines.
We're not completely robotic yet, so we're still handmade.
How do you hand make it with machines? I don't
They even said
I
that the
don't
guy said,
compute.
I remember some video I was watching in YouTube, and the guy was just like, he just like, I call Tito's vodka out on that. He's like, old fashioned pot stills. That's what it says on old fashioned pot stills. He's like, no way, no way. It's like, no way are you produce. And he's just going into like where vodka all comes from. It's a pretty cool video. I'm not that heavy of a drinker to care. I mean, geez, now I got to worry where my liquor's coming from too. Come
Oh, I
on.
know. I know.
I can't, I can't catch
Oh
a
man.
break.
No, you can't.
You should be worried. Well, I was gonna joke. You should be worried where your air is gonna be, but that's true already too. Don't want to be living in Beijing, China, or even hell, New York.
No, I've seen some of those videos too. Like I watch these guys that are in China. ADB China is one of the channels you can look for. And these two guys, they ride around motorcycles in China. They live there with their wives and they just talk about it. It's like one of the best ways to actually see another country is from someone's realistic perspective. No bullshit, just straight and raw, like telling you the way it is. So I am giving a little bit of shout out, but they're really cool. And they ride around on motorcycles half the time. They talk to each other about stuff without, being inside.
When I was in Dominican Republic, we were following a person, and we were on this dirt track, and she's on a bike. Well, the guy's riding the bike, she's behind him, and these dogs just start like running alongside the bike. She just like so nonchalantly just picks up her foot when the dog tries to like bite her leg. She's like, like, you missed me. Like it was, I was just thinking like, dang, like I'd be like, oh yeah, like thinking like I'm on like horse and imagining everything. Like, yeah, yeah, get out of here. Like kicking the dog. Or like or
Just
like Final
kicking
Fantasy VII where he's like where you're whoosh, whoosh, driving the bike and all that. But like she's just like nonchalantly like, stupid dogs. Like I'm thinking like, dang, just wild dogs.
I
Like
guess.
that's something United States doesn't really have is wild dogs.
Well, it
Or
sort of
do we?
depends
Do
on
we?
the area. If it's like if you're in New York or if you're in like a bigger city or something like that, you'll probably see some wild dogs. Even some rural areas will have a lot of wild dogs running around.
My daughter woke up. My daughter woke up.
Oh, she woke up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My wife's upstairs, but I guess she wanted to come see me.
Hello.
Well, she can't hear you because I have the headset on.
Oh, okay.
But he waved to you. You know who that is?
She's tired.
Yeah, you're too tired. You want to sleep with Daddy?
Yeah.
Or do you want Daddy to take you back upstairs? Back upstairs. Well,
Back
technical
upstairs.
difficulties. I gotta go.
Okay. Okay. That's it?
No, no, no. I'm just gonna take her back to bed.
Oh, okay.
My
All
wife's
right.
upstairs, so we'll
Okay.
see. Do some filler.
Okay. We will go to a commercial break. We'll be right back when Brad is back. So we'll see. We'll see about tonight. Maybe we'll get some more done, but we got to go for like a 5-minute break or so. So if you need a break, now's the time. Please do so.
I didn't say anything about you.
You better not have. Okay.
We'll see if the show picked up my audio or not.
As soon as I
Probably
open it
not.
up, probably.
Probably not.
I muted you for a second.
I didn't. Sorry, you don't watch your own show.
You don't watch your own show? Of course I do.
You do?
Every, 6 months, I watch my own show. No, I'll probably watch it later on.
Somebody
how I can
reruns
fix
this
this.
show like we rerun Cowboy Bebop.
What?
I watch them like every year. I watch like every episode every day, every
I
night.
watch every year, every single year.
They help me fall asleep.
No, actually, people did that in the past with some things.
Soothing dreams.
Dreams.
That's what we talked about the other day too. We don't have to get it.
Oh, yeah. We could get into that tonight, too.
That led down like studying
Oh,
Taylor.
man. So, could you ever possibly be nostalgic for food? Is there even a possibility for that? I think we could start there in a way. Like,
I think you could be nostalgic for anything, but like, is nostalgia when you actually feel that feeling, or is nostalgia just, it's there? You know, I mean, you think about it. You think about, this is nostalgic. You know, I feel good doing this because, but sometimes every once in a while, like you'll do something and you get that like tingle. Ooh, like this took me back.
mm-hmm.
Is there something more to that tingling feeling, like thinking like I'm reliving a moment?
I think sometimes you get to a point in life
Like
where there's
real
some
nostalgia.
things that are just they were so much better because you can't get that same kind of high you can now that you used to get.
But look at them. That's what I'm saying.
And it's just not available anymore, or it hasn't been available for years. And
Speed runs on old games
you
are more
know,
popular. Remaking old games are more popular. Remaking old movies are more popular. Redoing everything better than it was originally. That's the popular thing now. Like nobody wants to bother making up new stuff. Like, but that's the way we need to be with everything. Like, we need to stop trying to make plastic parts on everything we do. We need to start, making genuine good products. That's the right mindset. Stop trying to, maybe
but
nostalgia.
sometimes the thing is like I think overall it's a good thing for a sense because you can't learn unless you look at the past. You can't learn from something you're doing right now. Here's the thing. Here's a perfect thing for chess or for any particular strategy game. You're never going to learn by always winning. You're only going to really learn by losing. You learn by losing because you learn what...
Sounds like a loser phrase to me.
No, it might sound like a loser phrase, but you're playing chess. You cannot learn if you've won.
Was that Tesla's phrase? What was Einstein's phrase?
No, maybe Einstein. I don't know. But No, but you can't learn by winning. If you lose to somebody in chess, you'll learn what you did wrong comparatively to what they did. This is where you learn. And this is the reason why when it comes to like real big things,
yeah, but I think
you're only going to learn by losing. You can't
those huge chess players. They're crazy enough where they can like picture all the moves and whether they won or lost just in that.
Yeah, because they played against other people where they were getting their asses stomped into the ground.
I think some grandmasters were just always that good.
No, they had to play against really strong opponents for a while, and then they started to realize like what was wrong, and not just with the enemies, but then they played that scenario back in their head to play off against themselves in their head to figure out what was right and what was wrong. So eventually you'll start to do this for yourself, but if you don't learn how to lose first, you can't start to win. If you think you're just top notch and you're a winner all the time.
I've been telling myself that in golf for the last 7.5 years.
And how far how good have you gotten?
Every game.
We're waiting for that response.
Every game, my first shot, I feel super confident. And at least by the 5th shot, I lose that confidence.
See, there you go, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say this like a jerk or anything like that. It just comes down to the experience of it. You have to fail a lot. And the more you fail, the harder you fail, the better you're going to get. Because you're going to learn from that experience, like what not to do. And I'm
Well, then,
sorry, it
then
sounds,
I
it
should be a
sounds,
huge success by now.
half the time it comes down to that. Like
That
you
sounds
really,
like the most democratic phrase I've ever heard in my life. The harder
no,
you
no, no, no,
fail,
no.
the
But
more
you
successful
have
you
to
be.
fail, but you also have to learn from the experience. If you don't learn from the experience to figure out what you need to do to change it, you cannot grow from that. You know, I that's how I've seen life with a lot of things. Other people see it like that too, and
You
I
know
don't
what
know how
Zodiac would
else
say
to
right
I
now?
don't know
You know
how
what
else to
Zodiac would
say
say
it.
right now? Zodiac would say,
He's gonna make some kind of
and
butt
for
joke.
that, you get a trophy.
No, I thought he
That's
would make some kind
exactly
of
what
butt joke.
Zodiac would say. Butt joke.
No, you wouldn't get a trophy off of fail. You get a trophy if you it would be the opposite. If you always succeeded for not putting in any effort and you always got a trophy, then he would say that.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if you lose, then you get the learning trophy. You've learned something.
You get the
You ask
sort
the
of
person,
yeah,
"Did you
it's a
learn something
consolation
today?"
prize,
And
it's a
they say,
learning
"Well,
trophy.
yeah, I learned something today, how to lose." And they say, "Congratulations, here's your learning trophy."
No, but it's like that with some states even they let people pass school even though they probably shouldn't have. That doesn't actually help you like grow. It just was like, well, I don't really have to be here. I don't have to care. I don't have to learn anything. And then I'm going to go into college and the professor's going to be like,
The
what the
the
hell
main
is going
look
on here?
look.
Because you're
Let me
like,
tell you something.
you
The
know,
main the main thing about life is your job, is what you do to continue living. So I mean, it doesn't matter if you know every detail or you know anything. You really only need to know your job and what you're doing to make an income.
no, you're right. You're right. But it comes down to like the transition from school to college more so. Job wise, you could like learn the job. Somebody could tell you what to do, and that's, you know what you're doing. But if you're going to college, professors are going to like scratch their eyes out probably because like you never cared, and
Because I don't care. I
there's
don't
people,
care.
dude.
I'm not trying to
There's
go on
people.
who wants
There's
to be a
people in my
millionaire.
college
So like,
ask how to erase a line in AutoCAD, and I'm almost tempted to say, well, get out your pencil with your eraser and put it on the screen and rub it across the. It's like just to, just to do that, it's almost like you want to say stuff like that. I don't know. I just think that the way things were, like this is a part of nostalgia, the way things were, where you had to sort of struggle a bit to see how you kind of got up the ladder in a way, there's a reason for it, especially with the way our country runs. We have a republic, and the more effort you put in,
what were
the
the
the more
people in
success
the
you can get out.
1940s? What were the people in the 1930s and 1940s nostalgic about?
The 1920s.
I,
I don't think there was much to be
they're
nostalgic
nostalgic about
about.
bread and water.
No, there wasn't really much. Back at the time they had
It's so cold tonight. Oh, that reminds me of the 1920s. It was real cold then. Yeah. Good
yeah, it was really
times, good
cold.
times.
I don't know what they could be nostalgic about. Maybe just. Oh wait, when was Prohibition? Was that
I,
1940s?
I think it was 1927.
Was it
That's
1927?
my guess. What's your guess? I'm gonna Google it. What's your guess? When
Uh, you could be right. I was gonna say
it
1940.
was
Maybe it was
it started 1927, and when was it lifted? Probably like
1940.
1944. I'll go with.
But yeah, they were probably nostalgic about bootlegging.
You're supposed to give your. Oh man, you're supposed to. I was way off. You're supposed to give your guess.
19 1944.
That was when it ended. When did it
Yeah,
start?
1922. I don't know. I have
Okay,
no idea.
22 to 33.
22 to 33.
Yeah, because we really thought people in the 40s weren't drinking. No, they were drinking again, and that's when productivity was happening.
So they were nostalgic about the
Yeah,
time that they could hide their booze.
this makes a good point. This makes a good point.
Could you be nostalgic about the fact that you had to hide something versus now, oh, now I can just have it for free?
Do you think it's possible? I don't know what you just said.
No. No.
Do you think it's possible that the reason that America boomed so much in the 1940s was because men could go to work? I mean, women, some women too. I'm not trying to be, but men could go to work, and then when they get home, they could just drink. And at that point in time, it was very, very like go to a strip club or do some marijuana or do whatever, because it was pretty free back then. Do you
You could
think
have
that?
all kinds of drugs at that time, I
And then
think.
they go because I once met this. Oh, I didn't meet him, but I once watched this clip, and this Olympian said something like, oh, I go to bed like a man, I wake up like a man, or like I if I'm gonna party at night like a man, then I'm gonna get up early like a man. Like you can't just bullshit your life. And
Yeah,
it was good.
yeah.
It was a good way you put it. He probably put it better than I did, but it just it's the same
It
kind of
sounds
person.
interesting though. It sounds interesting. It's the way life is,
Like,
especially if
well,
you're going to be
but
a
you party
man,
when
you
you
should.
drink and all that. Like if you don't party too hard, like you fall asleep. It's nice. You fall asleep, you get some good sleep, you wake up in the morning, you're ready to go. You're good to go. But
It really depends on like the person you are. I mean, if you're somebody that has a lot of responsibilities, you got to make sure you have those responsibilities taken care of. Or if you don't have a lot of responsibilities, then enjoy life.
I think that
But
like the
it really
perfect shift
depends.
length is 6.5 hours. I think the
Perfect.
perfect shift length for any job is 6.5 hours, and
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
30 minutes break.
8 hours is grueling. Like I've had to do
Well,
that a lot,
I've
and
had every kind of job in between, from 4 hours to 12 hours.
mhm.
And it's true. Like after 6 hours is when you start to like look at the clock and productivity goes down. So you
Oh
want to do
yeah,
6 hours,
definitely.
but at the same time, the shift change idea sucks because once everybody comes in, everybody leaves. Nobody wants to help anybody out figuring stuff out. You need 30 minutes of solid two groups on, and one group stretching it out and getting ready, and looking at
Well, like
stretching and going over, getting briefed every
the
day.
the best time is like three-quarters of the way through the work. That's when you want to like get everybody on board with doing something different because they know it's almost done. So while it's almost done, then they have some extra energy. It's like you get that extra wind before the end of the race. It's like
I just
that.
I just think that I think that seriously we would be able to solve so many. This is crazy talk, but we'd be able to solve so many problems if we just made more factory jobs a four shift group at 6 hours or 6 and 15 minutes or 6.5 and whatever. Short break. You don't even need. You probably need like a 20-minute break in the middle of all that,
I don't think it's
and
so
you're go-
crazy. I think we're actually going to come
and
up to that
and
at
that
some
would
point
that would
because
hire more
they
people.
they well yeah because
And basically more people are hired, more people can pay in, and then you
more
get into
people
the
are
whole.
hired, but they're working for less hours, and
But
that's
they're not making quite as much money working in a factory. But then that's the whole point. Okay, well then you just make some kind of government policy where they get a little bit something for it, whether it's just devoted towards healthcare. But now the problem is, I think our big problem with like government. I don't want to get into all government, but is that there's just so many like disabled people. It's like I mean I wish I could look up. There's so many people that need money just to survive. The
it's
problem
going to
isn't.
happen
It's
though.
it's
It's
not
it's
about
going to happen, and
needing
it's
jobs. It's
gonna
about people not wanting to work.
it's not so much always about that. I mean, there will be a percentage of, and as the population grows, there's always a percentage of the
But
good and the bad, always.
I
But
think a
the
lot of
fact is,
jobs.
like, there's people that can't work because of certain reasons. There's people that don't want to work and they
I
find a
think
way
I
out.
think 90% of the people, 90 more than 90 even, 95% of the people, one in every 20 would be the bad one. Want to work. These people want to work, but they can't always find the job that they want to do. And you want to do something that you're good at.
Exactly. That's another reason is if you're trying to find a job that's specifically for just you, you can't just. I mean, if you need the money, then yeah, you got to find a different job. But you can't just up and grab any job you want. You have to wait for that specific job to come in to get to work in it. Because if you take another job that has nothing to do with what you want to do, the people that are, giving you that job are like, well, that's what you wanted, right? And you're like, well, no, I really wanted this other job, but I can't find it, so I'm going to take this one in the meantime. But you don't say that. I mean, you could say that, but then, you're opening up a jar of worms at that point. But, you know,
I'm just speaking in general. I just think that, I mean, this is all just very, very simple. I just think that the biggest problem with everything is just that people don't want to make things better.
the thing
I
is, if you
when you
made
revert
everything
back to
better,
like nostalgia, like people don't want
Brad,
people like what?
if you think about it, let's say the world was a peaceful place and there was no crime or anything, police would be out of a job.
Yeah, but
There's no
it
money
doesn't.
in that for them.
All right,
Sometimes some people have to create some chaos in order for others to survive. It's like the whole Zorg thing from uh, uh, The Fifth Element, where Zorg is like, oh, well, let's say you break this glass. Now there's all these little robots that are cleaning up all this mess, and those are engineers that have designed that so they can feed their children, so they grow up to be, it's like some people like feed off this chaos in order to keep things going, and I don't know. It's like that's as far as I can go with that
well,
that kind of
I think
idea. But I mean,
I'm trying to make my point. Like, supply and demand is more important than just like cost.
set seven. What are we talking about? We're talking about nostalgia. Is it good or bad? And
Look how we can loop it around somehow. But like supply, like too many people, a loaf of bread should only really be like pretty cheap, but it does take work. I mean, people got to get paid for what they do.
when you actually look at prices
But
from
but
here to
because
other countries, almost most of the main countries, if you like change your money for their money and you go over there, it's almost going to cost almost the same thing. It might be slightly more, slightly less.
yeah, well,
Unless you're in a third
I
world
always say that.
country, you're not, it's going to be
But
about the
it's
same
always
price.
just food. I mean, pretty much food, because like computers and phones, anything sold outside of the country is still the same price. I mean, they sell it for what they sell it for. They don't. Oh, all of a sudden, this third world country gets it for way cheaper. I mean, they sell it for what they sell it for.
I mean, but
But
but you're
food,
saying like nostalgia is like a good thing here because you wish it was back to what it was beforehand, but we're also getting paid more.
but you
The
can't
the
have
pay
nostalgia
raise.
on something that you didn't really truly experience.
No, but when you're younger, things were cheaper. But you're also negating the fact that
That's true.
you also didn't get paid as much at the time too. So as the pay increases, the price increases, and it's always like this all the time. So like nostalgia wise, like you could
Also, when
always
I
go
was
back and go
younger,
like, oh, the phones were so cheap way back when, but you
when I
also
was
didn't.
younger, when I was younger, there weren't cell phones, so
Yeah, but you also didn't have the money to afford. You didn't have much money, anyways. I mean, you look at like, there's always pay increases. The minimum wage is increasing all the time. Social Security increases. Other benefits, other things increase. So I mean, as much as you want to like look back in the past and go, oh, everything was better back then. It was about the same in a sense. I
everything
mean,
was butter back then.
everything was butter back then. One time you could eat a great meal for like 50 cents. And that's what my grandpa would tell me too. Like he would say when he was younger, he would go out for a meal and pay like a nickel and get like a beer and a whole
I
meal.
remember when a dime bag used to cost a dime.
You only made peanuts. Yeah, you
And
would
Willie
make like what,
Nelson,
5 or 10 bucks a week or something like that.
well, it's
I
cool because
remember when my dad would tell me like he bought vehicles. He bought a Jeep for like 200 bucks, and it was almost brand new. It was like a used, like the year off of or something like that. It was 200 or 400. I don't remember the price, but it was dirt cheap compared to like anything now. You're thinking 40, $50,000 vehicles way back when. Not that expensive, but you know what I'm saying?
well, that's what I'm saying. Supply and demand has gotten to the more and more algorithms we make, the more and more supply and demand gets created. The more and more, I mean, that's how things
But
like
look
what was
at
that
look like
company that
like we
could
want to get paid
a
more, but
brick
then the
for
price of
seventy
everything goes
dollars
up. So we're still kind of like
just because hype
we're
costs, you know. I mean, it's
we're
just gotten insane.
exponentially at about the same level as we've always been, but just it's like I don't
To
know. It
to truly
feels
survive, it really does not take much money at all.
no, no. You could get you can get
But
by
like
with so little and still survive. I mean, I'm
but
not
it's
saying
crazy
it's
because if you try to like I mean, I've never been on a welfare, so I don't exactly know, but it seems like they want you to buy certain things. Like they're invested in businesses. They're not just invested in look, if you don't have a job,
depends
you
on
should
state.
be making your own bread. You should be cutting up your own chickens. You should be, you should be getting everything the
You have to have
basic.
a slight bit of a farm to do some of that.
No, 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 no. Oh, I mean, they can process the chickens for you, but I'm saying like you should have to work for your food then. I mean, it shouldn't just be like supplied for you. You should have to make it. Why should you now
You can like you can get if you have a house that you've got a garden, you can grow your own tomatoes, you can grow your own
well,
vegetables,
I'm
you
not no,
can
I'm not talking about growing
do
stuff.
that sort of thing.
I'm talking
You
about
can do
you
that.
should you shouldn't be able to get canned goods. I'm saying like you should just have and I'm not trying to criticize people on welfare because again, it's not, I'm just saying that there needs to be like a sense of like simplicity. You shouldn't. I mean, Obama phones. When Obama had that Obama phone, everybody's like, "I got my Obama phone." You don't remember that?
What I don't remember that at all.
Oh man, this is a time when
Well, I
Obama was
never
giving
had an
out.
Obama phone, so I don't
I never
know.
had an. I never had an Obama
I never
phone,
even
but
heard about that. I didn't even know that was even a
yeah,
thing.
well, people were getting cell phones because
I
it
knew the
helped
website was funky and people didn't like that and
when people were trying to get jobs. It would help. It would help keep contact because it's true. You do need a cell phone in order to, you know,
kind of
get
do. Kind of
like.
do.
I mean, you need a phone, and cell phones are probably cheaper than a landline. And trying to get it, they want these people. They want these people
Well, I
connected.
guess. Yeah, maybe. But
I don't know. Well, it's like I said with supply and demand. I mean, look at Comcast. Comcast pisses me off, man. I have 15 megabyte speeds up to first off. I was always up to 15 megabyte speed, and I pay $49. That's the only thing I have from Comcast. I have my own modem. I have everything else. I don't pay anything else from Comcast. They're always every like month they always try to send me a promotion about like getting cable and switching over. First off, it's $51 plus like tax for the same thing that I already have at $49. $32 more. I don't know if you were able to hear me or not.
a little bit.
Okay, well it's already $2 more. The what they have for sale for what I already have. And I thought about getting the upgrade, but the upgrade of course is 100 megabytes at 80 some dollars, 82 or $83. So I just tell them very simply like, look, give me 30 megabytes or hell, give me 25 megabytes per second, $60. It's like I don't want to pay 80. I don't really, but 15 is a little slow at time to time. 25 would be very adequate for me. I usually only use 2 to maybe 3 devices, and typically the one device wouldn't be streaming at that time anyway, so I don't need more. They don't have that package. But they'll offer me this. It's cheaper. They want to hook me up and this and that. And they got it. They talked
They
it
always
down
want to
to
hook you up.
$78. I got it for $78 for the first 2 years. Then I'm stuck paying for that extra $16 I saved. If I keep this for one more year, that's $24 right there. So it's like so I just tell Comcast, why can't you just offer a package, 30 megabytes per second, $60? Why do you use it 15 and then the next is 100? Because they know. They know. They might as well get rid of that 15 megabytes per second. It doesn't matter. It's only there just to keep with the crowd because that's other people. So I'm like, I'm going with a different service provider. There are none. Every other one drops or has horrible customer
I
service
know that's the
or
hard thing too is
doesn't
that
have speeds worth diddly punk
I think another thing to consider is
or not my area.
I'm just saying another thing to consider is the fact that it feels like there was more versatility in the past. Like now, especially with some things like Even Time Order, which is now Spectrum, It like they want to like absorb like an amoeba any other service that's out there to make it their own, and then you can only really either go with Time Warner or with Dish, or I think Xfinity is another one too, but that's just satellite. You only really have like one basic landline you can do in a particular state. Like you got Comcast, I've got Spectrum, it becomes such a monopoly. You don't have the diversity to choose anymore. You're like streamlined, and you don't have a choice. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. But yeah, I
That's the whole
think
point, though. Like I said, supply and demand has taken over for things. They don't want you to feel good. They want you to spend money. That's what every business. You can't have a business that's not intended to just. Can't have a business. Oh, we just sell ourselves off of good things.
yeah, but that makes me think about like the past with the way people would talk about things. They wanted to do good things for you in a sense. They wanted to gain you as a customer and make you feel happy. Like there were
But
times in the past,
people
and this is
play
just
off
a small.
nostalgia. They
I'm just
play
saying,
off
like,
nostalgia.
oh sure,
Oh, all of a sudden,
maybe they
a
do
company
now.
made Reptar bars. Oh, they made Reptar bar chocolate bars with mint inside. How delicious! I have to get one Reptar bar, and yet it was only produced for what? Long enough for everybody who's gonna buy it to buy it, and then that's it. Then they're on to their next scheme.
Yeah, but I
How?
mean, look at some of the things in the past where, because this is just a small example. It's not a really great example. It's a small example. But when I was younger, there was these Dick Tracy little scratch off things you could get at McDonald's that I would be at with my dad. And if I got it, if I scratch off the right thing, I'd get like a free quarter pounder or a free meal or a free cookie or a free soda or whatever like that. And that, like, I would get either so lucky or they had it like every other meal or whatever. And I'd go back and I'd get free stuff like all the time when I was with my dad and we went to McDonald's sometimes. I don't know where you get that anymore. Like I don't know. I have no idea how you're able to like be able to obtain this free stuff. Like it was like a good free thing. They were trying to attract customers, and it was only a limited time thing. It wasn't all the time. But when they had those kinds of specials, it was like, we are doing this for you because we value you. And
Well, people are so
I
malicious like that. They say
I
that
don't
like
see that anymore. Like all I see is like everybody's out to find find a way to make a buck. And if they
Costco. At Costco they say their roasted chickens are $5, and they're all the way in the back of the store. So they're losing money on the chickens. They said they're losing money on the chickens.
you're losing money.
But the fact is, more people won't be able to get all the way in the back of that store, just buy chicken and walk all the way out without buying something else, that they make their money anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you're like, well, I'm already all the way out here. Why don't I just get some? Why don't I get some napkins or some soap or like a frozen pizza or something like that? Why don't I grab something else? I might need this. It wouldn't be bad. I got some soda here. And that makes sense. But at least I don't know. That doesn't seem as scammy as some other things. Like take this survey for like. Oh, I've tried to do some of those jobs. You try to like do surveys, or you try to click the ads and see how. Oh man, does that last forever? So many things you got to click on that.
Yeah, I never got to that. I just
after like 4 hours of doing it for like a couple jobs and only making just I don't know how much I made. Maybe I made like $40 or something like that, but it was so long, and I'm clicking through all these things and I'm typing in all this information. Like screw this. It's annoying. It's just annoying. Like I can't answer this many questions. But yeah, I don't know what else about the past that you want to like reminisce about. Like what do you think was better than now? Since we're kind of considering apparently you're saying that reminiscing isn't great, but what we're doing is reminiscing because there were good things in the past versus now. Although money wise, I think money wise is.
Well, I think reminiscing is fine, but I think when it consumes more than just a moment of your time, you're no longer reminiscing, you're reteaching yourself. And it's like sometimes easy lessons are easily wanting to be retaught because it makes you feel good. Oh, I know how to count to three. One, two, three. Oh, I know how to not like you're
I think
what
it's a
you
little more complicated than that. I
yeah,
mean,
probably.
I think it's a lot
But
more complicated than that. I think, like, the fact that like I do a lot of retro games, which is for a lot of people reminiscing about
well,
that, and like I totally
but
understand
what's
it. I
what's
totally get
reminiscing to
it.
them is not necessarily reminiscing to you. And I kind of understand the idea of like wanting to play certain old games, but like I mean, I don't know. It's just what's the purpose of I mean, I get it when you play a game like Brigandine. Brigandine is not the type of example because that's a strategy based game. That's like if you really
It's
like to play
it's
Sorry or
because
Monopoly.
there's so many ins and outs and so many different
But what
loopholes and other ways
I mean,
to
like I wouldn't
play it. And
criticize if you wanted to play Tetris.
well, I mean, look at how many people play chess. How many times has that game been played to death? And everybody's figured out every single way to play it. I mean, there's like Magnus Carlsen is the best chess player out there, and there's other really, really good chess players out there. But it's only played on a small board. It's been played for thousands of years,
Fish.
and there's so many different ways to play it. I think it comes down to the fact that if you can't remember every way there is to play it, it's never going to lose an interest. And I think that's the reason why Brigandine is a very good game that I like to play, and other people as well like to play it and watch it, as is chess, as is some other games. If you play a very linear game, like if you played Final Fantasy VII, or you played Final Fantasy 1, or you played
But
Final Fantasy
any
8,
kind of RPG or anything. I
and
mean,
and
sorry.
and there's like not much other than you're just doing you're doing the same grind. Like even in Final Fantasy 6, there's one place you always have to grind at. If you have to fight the T-Rexes to level up, and that's how you get up past 50. But you look at some very linear games, and you might only play that once a year because the story is the same. You're not doing too much different.
I just don't think there's any reason to ever play it again. I don't
What?
know. Like
Which what?
I regret like. Well, I'm just saying, like you want to get good at things. You don't want to just like go back, bouncing around. Is like you're a jack of
But
all trades. When you're too nostalgic over a lot of different things. I guess I'm not saying nostalgia is necessarily bad, but I'm saying like too much nostalgia. Oh, I really want to play some Black Ops 2 because, 7 years ago I used to play that game all the time. I really loved it. And then the next day, we should go play hopscotch because we used to play hopscotch when we were kids. And then like the next day, like I'm gonna re-download Clash of Clans because I miss Clash of Clans. I want to see my old account and how it looked. And then the next day, I mean, oh, I'm gonna go back to where I grew up and go just ride my bike on the old paths and all that. It's not necessarily like it's like ride your bike on some new paths. Like it's doing. I'm not saying nostalgia is necessarily bad, but like
is this a personal thing where each person
you
would
should let it
one person
control
would
you.
no, I understand, but what if it's
It's
like
what
a personal thing, and you really really want the best of the past because like currently either you're afraid of trying something new because it could be scary, or what you've tried with something new, it's just not as thrilling.
it's never as good. That's the truth. No, and that comes into the idea of like growing up is growing up is every day more depressing. I mean, is every day just going to be
Sometimes when you're older it is, but there's always like
well,
it
I
gets
used to
to
go
it
to
gets to a
Olive
point
Garden with my
it gets
mom.
to a point
We
where
used to go to Olive Garden,
you
and I
have
would
to
always
plan everything out, and then once you have everything planned out, you're like, okay, this fun thing's about to happen. Okay, great. But when you get old enough, you're like, I've done this so many times. I'm only going to
nostalgia.
enjoy it so much. But if I'm with other people or there's a new thing, a
Yeah,
new twist, that's the reason why, like, even when I
nostalgia's only
play,
fun when it's somebody like watching a movie. Watching Dumb and Dumber on Comedy Central when it happens to be on is one thing. Watching Dumb and Dumber with somebody who said, "Oh, I've never seen that before," is like whoa, 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 whoa. Now, all of a sudden, every joke is so much more funny because you think this is the first time they're hearing it. But yeah, if you
Exactly.
were to just watch it
Exactly.
alone, you'd be like,
Exactly.
like, yeah, it's always funny. I mean, Dumb and Dumber is always funny. Dumb and Dumber
Sure,
is
but when you have something new to experience with somebody else or a new twist to it, that's the reason why even when I do the Burgundy stuff, I'm like asking for challenges because I want to have something radically different than I've done before a million times, you know? And I don't mind playing by myself, but if I'm just
so
playing by myself and I just rush through it, it's like it's
what's
over,
the
the experience is
terminology
over. It's
then?
like,
If
well,
it's
it's already done. What am I going to do?
in a sense, it's like a basis off nostalgia, kind of like stuff like Weird Al, like what Weird Al does. He takes songs like parodies.
Oh,
That's
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost like a slight bit of nostalgia off of that, even because
Hmm.
that's short term. There should be like a thing like long term nostalgia and short term nostalgia.
You really think there's such a thing?
Short term nostalgia.
I mean, I guess, I suppose.
Yeah, you hear a song and all of a sudden, I mean, people do this all the time with memes. Something that can be, they create their own nostalgia. They overplay something out, and then all of a sudden you've seen it so many times, and then you lose all funniness for it, and then all of a sudden they can just make one minor tweak to it, and the whole thing is like super funny again because it allows the nostalgia to come back in from the original joke. You suddenly regain that original feeling of funniness to it that you
I don't
thought
think
was
memes
dead.
will ever die. I just don't. I
Oh
think
no,
you've got the gifts that will just continue on forever.
me.
Because the fact is like you have to have humor in some way. Sometimes you have to laugh at yourself for your own stupidity, and I've done it to myself too. But other people have to in a way, and even like society standards or your personal standards or whatever, or just laughing at an object or an idea, humor is always going to be there all the time. That'll never change. I just don't.
Well,
I don't see that ever
we
changing.
talked about that. I think that might have even been in the Crow Show. When we talked about can humor last forever?
It has
And
to. It has to.
and
That's
it,
the reason why. The thing is, humor
and
is offensive to an
well,
idea,
I said
thing.
humor can always revert too. Humor's not always offensive. That's what I'm saying.
You can
We
make fun of yourself. It's offensive towards yourself.
well, I'm sure there's some actual like detailed list of it, but like yeah, humor, you have offensive type humor, or counteracting type humor. You have like the evilest type humor. It's almost like counteracting, but you're actually like like you have your parody type humor.
Look at time frames of people and situations and how people handle things. You look at the
But
grunge
if you
time with like Generation X and our generation and stuff like that. People are making fun of their own culture, the older culture, things that are boring, that the way they dress, the way they wear things, the way they talk about things. They're insulting everything. There is nothing that is left undone. And this isn't just something that happens at like that generation. Every so many generations, there's going to be a generation that just goes, fuck it, we need to like wreck everything just because it exists, just to do it, just to loosen things up, and
reset,
yeah, a reset. And then you get to a different generation. It's like, no, we can't do that. We got to have everything structured and like everybody's blah 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 blah. And then after a while things start to loosen up a little bit more and a little bit more, and then everything goes crazy chaos. I mean, all different generations do this. So I mean, you look back in the past, like for us, and you're going to be looking for that kind of humor that's just completely disrespectful,
they
not
always they always want
caring.
to say, "Oh, it's just like how Grandma used to make it." And,
Yeah.
and what's funny? I feel like that's actually just like only our generation. Not, I mean, you and I aren't quite even the same generation, but only like our general time period of we have our grandparents typically, or maybe they've passed away, but they're older in their 70s and 80s. It's not like we have grandparents still in their 40s and 50s, like they're in the 70s and 80s, and we have our parents. Well, I mean,
But
our
yeah,
parents are our parents are probably in their 70s.
look at
Actually,
how many people
our
have.
parents are probably 80s or 90s. But what I'm saying is that's the only time period of when that really can actually work. Because before that, if our parents, their grandparents' food, it sucked. Like it sucked.
Oh yeah.
There's typically not that much. They used with what they had. We are the first real culture in history to really get to say like, do I want to take lime and mix it with some mango, and then mix it with some corn and some cilantro and some tomato, and how about this star fruit? Maybe some red pepper. Like
You're taking my idea from long
li-
ago now.
little bit of this vinegar here.
Little bit of
Like
this, little bit of that. Maybe a little bit of garlic
you
and
have like
horseradish.
unbelievable. I mean, grocery stores have made it like, and you still like you can go to special if you really wanted to. You can go to specialty grocery stores and get even weirder stuff. Like you can get anything's available to you, anything you want. Do I want
Like I
truffle?
told you, like what I just had earlier for a snack. I was still hungry. I didn't want to make a full meal. I washed some radishes, cut them up,
70
dipped
years
them in
ago,
peanut
70
butter.
years ago, that
And
wasn't
man,
an option.
that was like
You 70 years ago,
that's my
you ate
nighttime snack. Peanut butters and radishes.
70 years ago, you ate what was like indigenous to your area.
Yeah, you ate what was there. Your parents are like, you're eating everything on your plate. I don't care.
Yeah.
You eat it all, and it's just very basic stuff. I mean, it's not crazy or anything, but
I mean, you had recipes.
now we have
still.
choices and variety.
Well, I mean, you still had like recipes, like like we grew up in that era where you can have pork chops and mashed potatoes one night, but you can also have spaghetti the next night. Like it wasn't like oh only I mean, pasta's not even native. Spaghetti's not even
Even gonna
native to
make
like Italy.
that joke. Oh, spaghetti again. He jumped off the roof.
But like I don't know that joke.
You never heard that joke?
No.
Okay, there was an Italian, a Mexican, and well, the joke is with the Polak, but I could say a Polish person or whatever. And they all end up jumping off the roof. But the Polish person's wife is like, "Oh, well, you could have told me. I would have made him something else." Or no. The joke was like, he makes his own lunch. That was the end of the joke. That was like an old. I don't know.
I feel like if you retold me that same exact joke, I would still say I never heard it.
Yeah. Somebody else told me it long ago. Somebody else really into Polish jokes.
Yeah, I was gonna say Polish jokes, like how's that like nostalgic type thing? You don't hear Polish jokes anymore, but when we were
No,
young, that was like a thing.
that's gonna get you a lot of grief if you go on that rant.
I mean, maybe how about later, like early or late 1990s was like the Jewish joke area. Early 2000s it was like make Jewish jokes. Oh, Jewish jokes, like and South Park when they made their ginger jokes, and now all of a sudden people thought I can make fun of redheads. Like South Park single-handedly probably ruined a lot of redheads people's lives with the ginger thing because people really, really made jokes
Now
about it.
people don't want to be ginger, or at least it just doesn't feel.
Now I think people don't even care. More people are more comfortable.
Like I told other people, like I don't care. If the people made jokes like that, like I'm gonna go red when I get old, or when I go gray, totally gray.
When you go gray, you're gonna go red. It literally makes zero sense.
I'm gonna be a ginger.
When I go totally gray, I'm gonna be a redhead. That's what you said.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Listen, I gotta tell you, man, it's 3:00. It's actually 3:15. Summoner's War is like begging me to start doing my rune removal. So.
Well, then I guess I'm gonna have to start doing my Brad removal from.
We should put this. We should put this in the memory banks, and just keep it. And 7 years from now, we should watch it and get nostalgic about when we used to do podcasts.
Yeah, we'll be like, why the hell did we ever do this? This makes no sense.
Nah, when you can't get nostalgic about your own things. Something that you did, you can't like feel nostalgic on it. You're always like, yeah,
you kind of can. It depends on the time frame.
Yeah, I remember doing that. Yep.
We did when we did the Crow Show before. That was fun, but it was way too. It was, I don't know. It's so chaotic. We have to like. streamline it somehow. But yeah, if you're just gonna, you know, play with your erector set and
These magnet things are pretty cool,
oh,
actually.
you got the magnet set thing. Okay, okay,
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I don't know where my daughter put all the other ones though.
yeah. Well,
I got
what?
close this out because I gotta get this done. It's late. It's 3 in the morning for me.
Hmm.
Summoner's War, free rune removal day. I gotta do it. I got. I'm all. I could talk to you. You want me to talk to you about my game plan with Summoner's War?
No, we're talking about reminiscing about nostalgia. So
Huge crit rate and crit damage to the twins and Luna and Lucians. Get it done. Get it done.
get her done.
Get her done.
All
Absolutely
right.
right. I think I'm gonna go twins first. I have a paper upstairs. I gotta go get it. Top 60 monsters for the world
Did
boss.
you really like calculate this whole thing to see what you're gonna do right or the
Dude,
best?
I only get 1 day. Yeah. 60 monsters with each having 6-star rune or 6 runes on them. You gotta like get the sets right and all that. You can't, they gotta have 4 sets and 2 sets. It literally takes like all of your concentration the whole day.
Hmm.
That's why I'm up right now. I've already wasted 15 minutes of precious time hanging out with you. But that's
Wow.
but that's because I feel bad because we were supposed to play earlier. I
Wasting
kept playing video
away.
games. But
Wow.
they were like, all right, last one, guys. And then we lost, and I was like, well, I wanted to go out on a good note. And they're like, one more. That's not how it happened if they watched my own show, but
Hmm.
it's close enough. They said one more, like 3 games. What can I do?
Okay. Well, I guess Brad is off to the Legoland of what's the game?
Summoner's War.
Oh, Summer's War. Yeah, he's gonna play Summer's War for a bit.
Oh man, a Summoner's War got to deal with Lego. Oof.
And he's gonna go do that. I'm gonna go to bed. And hope everybody enjoyed the Coffee with Crows, our casual
Crazy because
podcast.
I had what are those things called? White Russians tonight, so I did have coffee.
Hmm.
Huh? It's the first time I've had coffee with coffee. No, the first show we did, I had coffee. Other than
Yeah.
that, this is the second one I ever actually had coffee.
Yeah, I think in the future I will get some coffee. Well, I've already done it once, but it had a little something in it. So, but anyways, it was still coffee. So, yeah, that's good.
Did I tell you my wife got me a bottle of
Coffee?
Johnny Walker Black?
Johnny Walker Black. Nope.
I
I did
said,
not
go.
know that.
This was I never told you this. I said, here's $60. I said, just go get me a bottle of scotch. I said, not whiskey and not bourbon. I said, I want to make sure it's scotch. I said, preferably something 12 years aged. I said, $60 should be able to get you that. She comes out and she goes, I had to spend a lot of my own money to get this thing. She's like, I had to spend $72 or something like that, or $73. I don't know. And I looked at it and I was like, Johnny Walker Black. I was like, oh, I like Johnny Walker Black. It's a good choice, though. You got what I was looking for. 12 years. And I was like, when the hell did Johnny Walker Black become $73 for a bottle? Then I realized she got me the 1.5 liter. It's a big bottle of Johnny Walker Black.
Oh, I think I saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, you were pretty wasted last time we did this.
oh, maybe, maybe that. You know what? I think that's when I
I
actually
almost
got it.
probably should delete that video because, like, it makes no sense. Like, we didn't even talk about really anything. You just, like, kind of fell asleep on me. It's just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Trigger, let me tell you what I've been drinking.
You weren't quite that far, but I mean, you were pretty far. You just literally passed out while we were doing a show, and I had to end it with you passed out on the couch.
Did I put my peen on the video?
You were drooling a bit, so
I
that's always cool.
I drew all the time.
Yeah, I wish I could control your camera, and then like I could just zoom in on you while you're sleeping while we're doing this, and I can put on like a different picture for me, and would just like, you know, make a little video saying, I'm letting Brad sleep, but I'm going to leave the camera on while I go to sleep and you can watch him sleep. And I'll do like some ASMR for a bit. No, we shouldn't do that. That would be wrong. that would be, that's still wrong. That's yes, that no, we can't do that. Not on my channel. Maybe your channel, but not on my channel. We can't do that. We can't
Sorry, it's more.
Okay. All right. I think we should call it here because someone's getting too happy or too tired or too I don't know what the hell to say.
Excited for free rune removal.
Yeah, free rune removal. If that's what you want to call it. Okay, cool. All right. Okay. We'll see you in the next Coffee with Crows, maybe a couple weeks from now or whatever. I don't know. Whenever we decide to make
Could
one
be
of these.
tomorrow. Stay tuned.
I think maybe next time we should talk about dreams. I think dreams would be fantastic.
I'd love to talk about dreams next time. It's a great topic.
Yeah, we'll talk about dreams next time. That'll be really, really good. So probably a couple weeks from now, whenever we get the chance, we'll just be on here and then you'll be here
I
too.
think it could be soon. I think it might not even be one whole week.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because you got that whole rune removal. That's going to take you like at least 6 days or whatever to do it.
I clearly stated it's only one day.
Well, that's what you say, but
I'm going to the Dominican Republic April.
Okay.
We're in April, but 20th.
So far we think we are.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you in the next Coffee with Crows. Have a good night, everyone.
I was going to do technical difficulties, but I had technical difficulties just getting up to do it.
I know you always do.
Ah, my leg.
Ah! Good night, everybody. Oh.